when we spoke to Dan, I think we mentioned it on the podcast. He's like in London for the foreseeable for Fantastic Beasts. So I wonder if Luke's going to get written out in some way for a little bit anyway. Like, I don't know. Get
heathed.
Yeah. Yeah, get heathed. I wondered that. But, you know, I'm very happy to see him and Jules alive and well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy I was wrong about Jules being
she
a
seems
whisperer.
to just be, like, sweet, which is nice.
Yeah, I like if they're in bed together and she's like, I love you. He'd be like, don't.
Oh, I love that. Cutscene. No.
All right, let's get on with the show.
Attention shoppers, Deadcast Top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2.
So it's our Deadcast Top 5 this week. It's our Top 5 highlights for Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 16, A Certain Doom, for all the bad guys, pretty much, and Beatrice. So I thought it would be cool to say where we were since it's been so long. And
oh my
I don't
goodness,
know if
please do.
It's just a quick summary, but Beta was leading he led all the horde to Alexandria, and nobody was there because they all went to hide at this hospital, and Alden and Aaron were there spying on them, but everybody else was at the hospital. And then Beta sort of he was hearing messages. I forget what they told him, but anyway, he decided to go off, and they ended up following the cat to the hospital. And Aaron and Alden were trying to keep ahead of them and contact Gabriel, but they couldn't. And then they were surrounded by the horde or by some Zeds and Whispers. Maybe it was mostly Whispers, and they had a gun in their face, which I feel like we're missing a scene in there because
no, we see it at the start, kind of flashy, swingy, knifey man, which is his name now, turned up. We see that, do we not?
He's when we first see Aaron and Alden, they're fighting and killing a bunch of guys, and then flashy, swingy, knifey guy shows up. They've already got the situation well in hand. But I went back and looked, and the last we saw of them, they were completely surrounded, and Aaron had a gun in his face.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
So it's like, what happened there? Unless I'm missing something, let me know, listeners. But that's what I saw. Anyway, either way, they got out of it, and and Maggie and knifey guy helped them. And Eugene and Ezekiel and Yumiko were off to meet Stephanie, who Eugene had been talking to and flirting with on the radio for a while. And then they ran into Princess, and they were off on their way. And Carol and Kelly were out running an errand for Luke.
Yes, and having a heart-to-heart in the car. I feel like that happened.
Yes, and Daryl and I don't know I forget what he was doing out, but Judith was there. She followed him or something, and then she wanted him to train her in how to survive and kill zombies and stuff, so he was doing that, and they also had a heart-to-heart.
Yes, and he found out about Michonne having left.
Yeah, but she didn't tell him. She doesn't tell them that it has anything to do with Rick. She just says Michonne is helping people.
Yeah. I presume because she thinks Daryl will leave too if he knows it's about Rick.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. That would have been handy, like, before I watched the episode, because the first 10 minutes I was like, huh? Who? What? Who's mad at? Oh, huh? Daryl? What's happened? Oh, Connie. Yeah, like it was a full, like 6 months has passed. My brain is not in gear, but I've got there
That
now.
was in, I think, April.
Yeah.
May, June, July,
way back
August,
at the
September,
start.
October. Yeah, 6 months, yeah.
It's wild.
All right, so what did you think of this one in general?
Oh, I liked it a lot. It felt weird. Just the break really took its toll on me. I was like, it feels like I felt like I couldn't get excited because it's just one episode. Like, it wasn't like getting excited for the show coming back. It felt a bit like, oh, okay, we're going to have this and then there's going to be a break for a while. But it was nice. It was a nice payoff. It's one of the few episodes where I feel like it could have been longer. Like, sometimes I complain that they're too long. This one, I'm like, yeah, it could have been longer.
It was actually a little shorter than most. It was like 45 minutes, and they're usually like 48.
like I think it was the AV Club review was just like, wow, they really just like they don't usually do this. They really just did what they needed to do and got out rather than sort of dwelling on anything. I can see why it took as long as it did, given the special effects you saw at the end with the walkers coming over the cliff like lemmings.
Yeah, good point. Totally.
And it was worth it.
Yes.
I was like, this is cool.
It was
I like
cool.
this.
I agree.
So all in all, it was just really nice. It was nice to watch it and to see everything. And there were a lot of moments that made me really happy. So yeah, I feel like I'm maybe not in my best critical frame of mind because it was just so nice to have it back for a little bit that I just enjoyed it all.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it too. On first and second watch, much like World Beyond, my opinion really shifted quite a lot. But at first, I thought it feels a little anticlimactic, and there's a lot of scenes of them walking among the Zeds, and it felt a little samey and tedious. But then once I watched it the second time and paid closer attention and noticed all the details and the little sort of shifting elements of that whole sequence and the structure of it and everything, then I appreciated it a lot more and liked it more.
I agree. I think the first time round, there was a weird kind of, oh, okay, it's such a weird thing because it is the finale, but it isn't now. And I'm kind of glad it wasn't because it felt like there were epic finale-esque moments, but I feel like that would have been a weird place to leave the season, maybe. I don't know.
Well, to me, it feels like you're watching a movie and 15 minutes before the end, the projector shuts off, and then 6 months later, you watch the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly that feeling. You're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because I really, people think that Beta's death was a bit anticlimactic because it wasn't as big. There was some fighting with him and Negan, but it wasn't as big of a fight. And he didn't fight Daryl. And I felt like that too. But when I thought about it, if we'd been watching, a week after, we'd have seen a lot of fighting with him already. And it would have just felt like this guy has been causing so much trouble, get rid of him. And that's what they did. So I think if it would have happened a week after, or even if you're binging it, it would have felt more satisfying.
I also felt like with Beta, I mean, we'll maybe come to this, but I feel like Beta wasn't on full form. I think he'd lost the plot a little bit. Like, I feel like he knew he was going to his death. Like, so that was kind of why it felt a bit
that too,
weird.
Yeah. To die happy is a little like, oh, we don't want him to just be okay with it and almost like practically commit suicide. But I have a lot of thoughts about that that'll come later.
Definitely, we'll come to it for sure.
So what's your number 5?
Do you know what the weirdest thing about this episode was? When I sat down to write my top 5, I was like, I don't have anything to say. And then I started writing, and then I was like, oh, now I have like too many little things to say. So I'm going to try and like pick good ones from the many little thoughts I have. So the thing that got me most emotional was Maggie being back, even though it was very brief. I found myself really tearing up when she saw Judith at the end because I felt like a real connection to the show's history. And I like said out loud, I was like, oh yeah, Maggie like delivered Judith. Like that was a big formative moment for her at the prison. And my partner was like, did you? And I was like, yeah, she did. Like it definitely happened because she comes out like it's that really iconic scene where she comes out like covered in blood holding the baby, and Carl's basically like, I just shot my mom. and Rick is no, the dad joke meme scene.
Yes. That episode is, I feel like that moment is, well, mostly it was between Lori and Carl, but Maggie was there, and it's just one of the most emotional moments of the whole show for me.
Oh, completely. And I just feel like it was so nice to have Lauren Cohen back. I was always really hoping they'd bring Maggie back. So that moment with her and Judith just felt like it had so much weight behind it, and they were playing like the sappy music, and I was like,
yeah, like with Maggie, she is back looking at the letter that Carol sent her, and also, swooping in with her enforcer guy to save Gabriel. And, but my favorite parts with her, she barely had any. I think she might have had one line, I'm not even sure, but which I think is kind of cool. But my favorite parts with her were just when she was meeting up with, like when she hugged Gabriel and when she hugged the kids and everything.
It was wonderful. Nice. It was just like I was sad that we didn't get, I mean, it would have been a bit ridiculous if we got all the reunions, but I was a little sad that we didn't get any indication of the her and Negan dynamic. Because I was like,
it'll come.
They're both there, and I'm just like, oh, I want to know.
No, yeah, I'm glad, because if she'd just given him the side eye or something, and then it would seem a little like, that's it, you know? They gotta
I wish we hadn't,
until they could devote some time to it.
Because I know they did the whole Maggie Negan payoff before she left, I guess, in case she never got to come back. And I'm now like, no, I wish they hadn't already had that scene, because I love the kind of build up to that in the comics. And yeah, so Maggie coming back was great. There was one beautiful moment that I got on the second time round, which is Aaron just gives the knife guy this amazing sort of freaked out side eye. He's like, oh,
double take.
Oh. So in my head,
what's going on with you?
I'm like, that's totally going to be Aaron's next boyfriend under that.
Yeah. It's like, you kind of remind me of this long-haired guy I used to know.
This long-haired guy, Jesus. I would say watch out knife guy though, because Aaron does not have a good track record. He's a bit of a Black Widow in the apocalypse, so watch out. So Maggie being back was just lovely, and I really, really thought, and I should have known better, I really thought Gabriel was in danger. I really thought he was going to die. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Because they we'll come to it in comic talk, but there was another reason why I was very sure that he was going to die in this scene. So it was nice. I was genuinely like, oh, Maggie. And I hadn't made the connection to her and the knife guy being in any way connected. So it was a nice surprise. And yeah, Maggie being back was my number 5. Nice to see her. Looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And they've said that these next 6 episodes, well, I'll just save that for the news. So yeah, I agree. Okay. Maggie back. Great. Okay, my number 5 is the plan, because they've all holed up in this hospital, and now they're surrounded by the infamous Whisperer horde and just thousands of Zeds with whispers sprinkled in, and they're fucked. And so the plan that, and that was another thing watching it the first time, I really didn't understand what the hell was going on. But I think I do now. So as Gabriel says, the plan is to lead the horde away and then evacuate to a rendezvous spot, which is pretty simple. But they're going to lead them away by playing music, and they are going to connect this sound system that Luke put together on this wagon that they can use to lead it away. So the errand that Luke sent Carol on was to get, I think, wires. They were scavenging wires from cars.
I think, yeah, and there was like a car radio as well, maybe. But yeah, okay, there was, maybe, no, you're totally right that it was, that was what she was sent to do.
It was about that, yeah. And he knows all this presumably because he's into music. So, okay, fine. And I guess that they need, I mean, we've seen like Eugene lured some Zeds playing music in a van before, just with the van radio, but I guess there are no, it's all horse and wagons now. But also I feel like it makes sense they would need just this big, huge honking system because there's so many zombies. Although then you get just this girl, Lydia, who seems to be able to do it just as well. So maybe they should
dancing among the
walkers.
Yeah. There's a bit of the like Arya Stark about Lydia in this episode. It's like, I just dance with the dead. I'm like, all right, cool.
So then the problem is that the wagon is between them and the horde. So they're going to take 4 groups, 2 carrying equipment and 2 covering and protecting them. And then they're going to keep everyone else back, the children and whoever they don't think is skilled enough, I guess, or whatever, to risk. And so once the Zeds are lured away, Gabriel can get the children and everyone else out. So I think that was the plan. Then the horde ends up overtaking the wagon, which I'm not sure how they let that happen. That seemed a little bit incompetent. And you got something about that?
No, I just was laughing.
And then the Whispers destroyed it. And for some reason, when they lost the wagon and the music turned off, the horde turned back to the hospital, maybe because that's what it was. Yeah, the Whispers were leading them back there. And that's why Daryl says, well, I'll go back in and pick off the Whispers, and then Lydia volunteers to lead the Zeds over the cliff, and she thinks she's going to have to sacrifice herself to do that. So then that was the thing. I'm like, can this one, I mean, I really have to suspend disbelief just to believe that a group of Whispers could control all these zombies, and just to think that one could, I have to suspend it even more. But hey, what are we talking about? controlling a bunch of zombies, I guess I'll suspend my disbelief because I think it's a really cool concept.
Yeah, I've just realized when you were saying that the like poeticness of silencing the whisperers with music, like battling the quiet with the sound.
Oh yeah, right.
So clever.
And also of Lydia, who has been, she escaped this group and got out of the control of her abusive mother, and now she's the instrument of all of her mother's horde's demise. And this episode, like, I was saying, it's the end of a movie. I mean, it's like the end of the last 15 minutes of a movie. I mean, Alpha's already dead. Beta died. The whole horde, which they'd called her nuclear arsenal or nuclear weapon, is gone. And presumably all the whisperers are gone too. So they really just took care of it here.
And Lydia did it all wearing her mum's mask and then throwing it over the side. I was like, oh, there's so much psychology in this.
Yeah, it's nice how it came together.
It really is. I also loved the tune they picked. It's been stuck in my head for the last 3 days. I love a bit of Talking Heads, so I've just been singing Burning Down the House to myself.
Burning down the house. I like that it's by the Talking Heads because the zombies are talking to Beta.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if that's intentional, but...
And Luke had a little dance. I loved that little moment. He was really getting into it. I was like, yeah. Good character beat. Literally.
Yeah. Oh man, it's all just so clever. Okay, what's your number 4?
I'm going to just comment on what you said about the plan. The other thing I like about the Kang era is they credit our team with a bit of common sense. So I find like sometimes like lazy writing is they just don't know what to do. Like, but every situation they've been in, they've managed to come up with a plan. And that's more believable for like 7 years into the zombie apocalypse than like, oh no, we don't know what to do again. So I quite like that the episodes have been kind of cutting and then coming back to action happening rather than dragging out the suspense. And I think listening to you talk about it there, that really paid off here. This idea that it looked impossible, but they actually have... It's not like they have a miracle escape. They actually have a practical plan that might work.
Yeah, and also as they're going along, some things go wrong, and so they have to quickly adjust.
Exactly.
Which is exciting.
And that makes it more believable, like, oh, these people have survived because they're not all total dipshits. Like, they can actually think of a plan.
Yeah. And it's hard for on this show to make a credible threat with zombies because zombies are so slow and dumb that they seem easy to get away from. But here, I mean, they had some beautiful overhead shots of just thousands of them just everywhere, all around. So yeah, what are you going to do there?
I think for my number 4, I want to talk about the zombies actually, because so there was a really formative episode of Game of Thrones called The Battle of the Bastards. And one of the things they did,
amazing.
Most people who are listening to this probably saw it, but one of the things they did was like, in this whole like epic fantasy show, one of the most powerful things they did was just show someone on a battlefield almost die because they were covered in bodies. Like they were literally like drowning in that kind of claustrophobicness. And I really liked when they were walking amongst the horde, walking amongst the horde, that you got that claustrophobia. And adding the whisperers into the mix, like not only are you trying to keep from absolutely freaking the F out because you're amidst all these zombies, you're also looking out for people who might stab you. And I was just like, this is actually really scary. I feel like it worked better than some of the gut covered scenes have worked before. Just because you had that added element of the whisperers and this kind of the way they filmed it felt so claustrophobic, and like watching Magna kind of quietly start to freak out and dissociate from it, watching
and then Jerry puts his hand on her shoulder.
Oh, Jerry.
It's kind of scared her but then calmed her down.
Exactly.
I mean yeah, one thing about that is like it's a new dynamic, or relatively new at least, when they're among so many Zeds, and they know all you have to do is stab your enemy and they're going to scream out and immediately be swarmed upon and eaten. That's pretty thrilling.
And it was badass when the arrows started coming down and, Lydia's helping them, basically like telling on all her old friends. She's like, yeah, that one in the brown shirt.
I'm like, that one first.
I'm like, oh, Lydia, you're definitely not going back to the Whisperers, are you?
That's Troy. I don't like.
He's a real dick. And they're like, okay.
We dated.
But it worked really well because, obviously the zombies get distracted by the person that's taken down, and I just thought it was really well done. And my goodness, Beatrice's death was disgusting. That was one of the most graphic zombie dismemberings. Oh, it was so brutal. Like,
Greg Nicotero loves this stuff. I think he directed this episode.
That would not surprise me because like legs are getting pulled off. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Even Carol is like, this is a bit gross. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, limbs pulled off. Zombies reaching in and pulling her like stomach apart and eating her and pulling it like taffy, in their mouths.
Oh, it was so brutal. We haven't had like a good close-up minging zombie kill for like the longest time.
Yeah.
So
if this would have been on the first episode, I think the show never would have taken off.
I think you're totally right, to be honest. Like, R.I.P. Beatrice, you were a great Oceanside person and we'll miss you. And I really liked that actress. However, it was a brilliant death and I really enjoyed it. And also Luke lives, so,
Yeah, right. If it had to be one of the
It had to be one of you.
I mean, I'll talk a little bit about Beatrice. So Daryl gets through the horde and sees the people who've made it. And they're sitting there waiting for everybody else. And Daryl says, "Where's Carol? Where's Beatrice?" And I'm like, that should have been our first clue that whoever the hell Beatrice is a goner. I mean, she's been around, but she's been a side character, right? And she was actually wearing a red shirt. So that was another clue.
Oh, Beatrice.
Pretty sure that was a deliberate nod.
I'm just imagining
more red now.
Carol like doing a Fleabag style like wink to camera, like obviously I'm not getting killed.
And so the Whisper slashes her arm, and then the Carol stabs the Whisper in the gut and twists the knife, and then the Whisper, who had fallen to the ground, grabs her leg and stabs her in the calf. And
that is brutal.
She's screaming, and the Zeds start eating her, and then her screams subside and die out, and then they're ripping her all apart.
But kudos to Beatrice, she got the backpack off. She had her eye on the prize. She was like, Carol, take it.
Yeah, take it. And I think the show knows not to give a death like that to one of the main characters that we've come to love anymore.
Oh, I think the last time they did that was maybe, apart from Negan, the last time they did that was Noah, and that was... Ugh. I mean, Noah wasn't even like a main character, but I remember at the time we were all like, Jesus, that was
I loved that, even though I really liked the character. It was just such an innovative and gross scene.
It was both disgusting and amazing.
That's in the revolving door for people who don't remember.
And Glenn, we're like living through Glenn at that point because he has to like live it in real time. Oh, it's so brutal.
Yeah. But Glenn and Abraham's are the one where I feel like that's why they would never do a death like that on a main character again.
Oh, no way. Especially having listened to your amazing podcast with James Fraser today and listening to like the actual practical impact that had on the show and like the people who were interested in it. Yeah, it just really made me think about that kind of level of violence. So poor Beatrice, we're basically saying we didn't like you enough for you to not have an amazing death, but it's kind of a complicated compliment, I think.
One sort of positive about the Glenn and Abraham thing that I'm just realizing right now is that you're here on the podcast, because I'm pretty sure that's the point that crushed Karen's heart.
I think Karen did die inside. And I think like listening back, so, it's like,
there's a downside.
Dead. All
you're
is
here,
fine.
so that's good.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, who knows what Beatrice's death will bring us? But yeah, R.I.P. Beatrice. I was surprised we didn't have a bigger body count. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like, I mean, obviously it's this show; they're not going to kill people. But yeah, the Gabriel fake out really got me. I really, really thought he was gone as well as Beatrice, and obviously I spent the whole thing thinking Luke was going to die as well. So yeah, but for me, the zombies were a good number 4. And cool. a little bit about Beta and how he's viewing them, but I think we're going to talk about Beta later, so I'll hold that for now.
Yeah, my number 4 is about just the walk through the horde. They use the guts trick again, which they've used time and again, but for some reason this time it took me all the way back to the first time Glenn and Rick did it in season 1. It's just a much bigger scale and more people having to do it, and
funny.
Whispers hiding among them.
I was thinking about that as well. I don't know if it was the raincoats. I don't know. There was something
maybe that's
about
what it was,
but and I think the fact that there were a couple of people there, like Jules and I feel like Luke, who maybe had never done it before. So it was that kind of fear of not knowing if it would work or not, and the stakes were so high. But definitely, I was thinking about that scene as well when Rick did the little eulogy for the guy whose name no one remembers.
Rick has changed since then. No more eulogies.
What?
But and they weren't putting it on their faces, and I'm like, I would be scared that your face might get bitten. But I think it's pretty much been established now that if you get it in your nose or your eyes, that you'll get super sick like Gabriel did.
I think that's it, isn't it? If you've got that creepy, milky-eyed dude looking at you all the time, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to put that on my face. I'm going to be fine.
It also reminds me of Nick, of course, because I think he'd be right at home
Nick.
with all of this. You're
Love
like,
Nick.
woohoo!
I was thinking about him today, and I was like, oh, Nick, you're the best. R.I.P.
So as they're preparing to go out, Kelly puts on a whisper mask. And had she used that before?
No, I was a bit confused about why she did that. Is it? And I think I don't know. I don't think I do know. I thought it was maybe to do with her needing to see more than the others because she's obviously like her hearing is patchy.
But then it looked like it was obscuring her vision.
Yeah, it looks worse.
Worse. I don't know why, but I have been thinking this whole time that, wow, the whispers are actually translating better on screen than I thought they would. And it actually makes me think the masks, even though they look bad, they don't seem as gross as I thought to put on, like maybe, just some leather product. And so it would be smart of them to use these, and maybe they should keep a few. Maybe Lydia can teach them how to make them. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to, but it seems like a good way to get around, in this world. So yeah, if I die, I give you permission to make a whisper mask out of me. If you want, you can wear it for Halloween or something.
I will remember that. I think I also thought Angel Theory looked really great in that mask. I just thought she really pulled it off really well. But yeah, it confused me a bit that she was the only one who did that. Because they say something like for safety, and I'm like, cool.
Maybe they didn't have a lot of masks.
Yeah, I wonder if that was it.
I don't know. But a few more things as they're making their way through, and there's a lot of growling. Rah, rah. I swear it sounded. I felt like they were about to say brains. But that was fun. Yes. Then let's see. Yeah, we already kind of talked about. We saw one with a knife. So they're like, oh, there's whispers in here, and it went to stab Kelly, I think, but then pierced by an arrow and falls screaming, and the Zeds swarm around it. So that happened a few times, or a couple of times, I think, before Beatrice's scene.
There was a moment where Gabriel's like, only shoot to wound, and I was like, oh, how humane. And then I was like, oh no, that means they're going to get ripped apart alive, so that's actually really brutal.
Yeah, that's cruel, man.
But they need the noise and the distraction, right? So yeah,
just distract some of the Zeds, I guess. At one point, Beta told other whispers, or who knows, he seems to think they're all just talking to him, but anyway, to tighten the herd. So I guess that was just to close in on the people, so it's harder to get through.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think he figured out they were picking off the ones they could see. So if he pulled them closer together, it would be harder to see who they could shoot.
More claustrophobic.
I did think for a moment that I always forget this girl's name, Rachel. I did think for a minute that Rachel was going to shoot one of her own. By accident, so I'm glad they didn't go down that route. But I was like, like,
is
she's
she
like
an Oceansider?
She's the girl who used to give Tara the finger.
Okay.
Who's like,
I need to get more familiar with them, because they appear so infrequently that I forget their names.
I had to go and look up her name before this podcast because I was like, I don't remember. But yeah, there was a moment where I was like, oh, that would be awful if she shot one of their own, but they didn't. So that's good.
Oh God, that seems like something early Walking Dead would have done.
Oh yeah, completely.
And then last is, I just like the wagon slowly going down the road like a Pied Piper with all the Zeds shambling after it, and the full moon up ahead. And
it was great.
They're trying to shoot a few of them off with arrows, and Carol says, "Protect the horses." And I'm like, yeah, the show needs someone to stand up for the horses more. So that's cool.
They don't grow on trees, guys. We lost loads. They're like,
and they're more important now that all the cars are dead. So those are my observations about that whole scene.
Awesome. All right, my number 3 is, I'm going to talk a little bit about the gang that are off on the road. I wasn't hugely invested. Like, I figured that, I don't know, that was the one point where I felt like they were treading water. Like, they're obviously not going to go that far and not complete the journey. So when Eugene was having his little meltdown by the roadside, much though I loved having a nice inspirational speech from King Ezekiel, who just doesn't have time for that. He's just like, no, I will monologue, we will go forth. I did
it's
like
good that he still has that inspirational quality, because we've seen him be depressed, and he's got cancer, right?
He does. And I think it's interesting that both he and Carol have hit that kind of beat this season of being very depressed and in some ways suicidal. I think it's quite interesting that, yeah, I'm wondering if maybe there will be a reconciliation for the two of them if he finds a miraculous cure or something. I don't know. It made me think anyway. But there was a lot of humor as well. I liked Yumiko talking about Eugene, like his bolo would live to see another day, like he was gonna get some action, and then Princess just commenting that he is one horny dude.
Yeah, because he's like giving this speech about, no, we're gonna keep going there, she's out there somewhere, and the whole reason we're doing this is to combine with other groups, and we gotta go. And she's like, man, like she's gonna say, man, you're really dedicated, but man, you're so horny.
I love that. So it was nice to continue with that journey. It was probably the least important thing for me in this episode, but the snap at the end where we see the soldiers appear and are suddenly placed into this completely new situation is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing where that takes us, and we'll talk a little more about that in comic talk, I'm guessing, so I won't say any more. But yeah, it was a cool place to leave off, and it's all the more exciting knowing that this isn't actually the finale and that we're going to get a bit more to this season, although the amount of time it's going to take, it may as well be a finale. But right.
Yeah, I mean, seeing all those armored soldiers, I tried to imagine what that would feel like if I hadn't read the comic and just leave that out, because they are from the comic, I'll say that much. But yeah, I mean, you know, Eugene has been talking to this woman on the radio and developing a relationship, but we don't know who she is, or if anything she's been saying is the truth, if he can trust her at all. And even when he gets there, he's like, she's not here anymore, if she ever was. So that sort of plants that seed. Oh, maybe it was all just a ruse. And then all of a sudden these people show up and you're like, oh yeah, you can't trust anyone. You know, I mean, it could be that, like, I mean, it still could be like, oh, they're fucked. But it was that was the most exciting part of that whole journey, I thought, when they showed up at the end, for sure. It
totally was. And I mean, they do look really like stormtroopers. So many people have said stormtroopers, and I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong. They basically do look like stormtroopers. So yes.
And they looked very close to the comics too, which is pretty awesome.
I was really pleased with that. I think it's a good place to be jumping off from for the last kind of arc of the show. I think it's going to be good.
One thing, he's like, you know, we're not turning back. We're going to keep going and looking for them. You know, they might be not even be within 100 miles, but they're out there somewhere. And I'm like, man, you just signed these guys up for this mission.
Yumiko's like, I kind of thought I might see Magna and sort things out. He's like, hell no, you're coming with me. And I'm like, oh, worst way to get over a breakup is help Eugene go and get laid.
But I guess they don't have any like jobs to get back to or anything.
Well, exactly. It's a bit of an adventure in it.
All right. I'm going to go on to talk about Beta a little bit.
Yeah.
So Beta is in full crazy mode still after Alpha died. Who knows? He might have been a full-on nut the whole time, and I think he kind of was, but even more so now. I don't think he was hearing the zombies talking to him before. But I'm going to talk about the whole thing about him smiling while he's dying. And well, actually, as he's going along in this episode, he hears the zombies say things like, "We are ready. Are you?" And, you know, the end almost here, our end. So it seems like they know they're going to die, which means he knows he's going to die because it's all in his head. And then, how far? And then, hey, shithead.
Oh,
that's pretty funny.
It was awesome.
That's pretty awesome. And so, but then, you know, Negan's fighting him and Beta's about to kill him, and Daryl swoops in. There was a lot of swooping in this episode. Daryl swoops in, stabs him with his 2 knives right in the eyes, which is kind of poetic because he's stabbing him with 2 knives. And as he pulls the knives out of his eyes, we start hearing that whole spiel, that chant that we learned Ryan Hurst actually came up with just to help him in his backstory for the character, and Angela King loved it, so wrote it into the show. But it really spells out the Whisperer philosophy that we've heard even when the Whisperers like showed up at Alexandria and got that one guy got put in jail, or even Dante, just like you guys are a fool to think that this is still the world. It's an illusion. This is not it. And the Whisperers think, give up everything. We are nothing. So their chant is, in darkness we are free. You bathe in blood. You are not broken. We are free. We love nothing. We are free. We fear nothing. We are free. We embrace our death. Now is the end of the world. We are the end of the world. And like last episode, another thing that happened is Daryl and Judith came upon this Whisperer, and he wounded her, and she was laying there, and he was trying to get information out of her. And then he shot her in the head, but she said, "Don't shoot me in the head. I want to walk." And so they really just seem to like, first they walk among the Zeds, and then they become the Zeds, and that's what they see as their life. So I think if he really means it, that he embraces his death, that this is all just part of what the plan is for him and all the other Whisperers now. So it's fine. Unfortunately, they may have ripped off all of his limbs and tore his stomach open. So I don't know.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Yeah, it's difficult. I don't think he got to walk with them, despite the very touching kind of sepia montage of presumably his life's best moments. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked all post-apocalyptic as far as I could see. But yeah, it was a lot of him and Alpha. It was pretty cool. Like,
it was awesome.
Yeah, the tone, the aesthetics of it. Oh, yeah, that I have always wondered about that in Romero movies, that if the zombies are always eating people, then how does anyone become a zombie? But in Walking Dead, I think we've seen a lot of people get bitten but not eaten. So sometimes they get eaten, sometimes they don't. But I mean, I feel like Beta may have gotten eaten. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think it was such a fitting death for Beta. Like, this kind of weird, spooky peace that he has with it is just so powerful. But yeah, the hey shit head moment was great. I also love that Negan may have been a fan of Beta, because he looked genuinely like, "Wow, did you see who that was?" And Daryl's like, "Nobody." And I'm like, yeah, I just thought that was really
Daryl's
funny.
like, yeah, it's Ryan Hurst, dude.
Yeah,
Sons of Anarchy.
Negan's like, "Your music really spoke to me."
I mean, I was hoping, based on the comic, that when this moment came, they'd be like, shit, that was Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah, wow. It was
nuts.
It was nice that Daryl got to kill him with two knives, He's famously known as Friday McTwo-Knives, and it was a wonderfully gruesome shot when you see Ryan Hurst pull the knives out of his eyes and kind of be reborn. That was some awesome kind of filmic filmic cinematography there.
Right when they're saying, "In darkness we are free."
Oh, it was so cool. And the eye for horror that this season has had has been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and did you listen to the Angela King interview I did?
I did, where she agreed with you that I was wrong about Negan, but we'll just gloss over that.
We'll just gloss over that. That's not the point. That comes a little later. But she said that she loves horror, and I was not at all surprised, because it's been really gleefully apparent this last couple seasons.
It really has, and it's paid off, because it's really given a new lease of life to the show. It's not just like grim gore, it's like proper horror tropes and horror kind of filming, and I just love that. I think it's one of the reasons why it's gotten so good now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when something tries to be scary but isn't scary, then that sucks. And so when you actually feel like creeped out or skeeved out or whatever, then that's like, oh yeah, they really made me feel like I'm watching a horror movie. That's impressive.
Exactly. So good.
Yep. I mean, Karen and I used to talk about that on Walking Dead cast from the very beginning, how Robert Kirkman wrote an afterword in his first collection of the Walking Dead comics saying, "I'm not trying to make this scary, and it's more of a survival thing." And I was like, man, I hope the show, they do try to make scary, and we'll see. And then I've always was sort of, there were moments here and there, but mostly I was like, it doesn't really feel like a horror movie. Every once in a while there'd be a moment like zombies in the mist in a graveyard. I'm like, yeah, this is sort of getting to it, but not as fully as with Angela King. Then when we had Robert Kirkman on for an interview, and I was like, that part in the comic when you said you weren't trying to make this scary, what was that? He goes, "Oh, I was just doing that as like pre-defensiveness because I was afraid the comic wouldn't be scary enough." So I thought that was pretty funny.
I like that. That's fun.
So,
am I
number two?
I guess you raised it. So let's talk about Negan in this episode. He kind of flip-flops a bit. He sort of gives up, but then did he really give up or did he not give up? I think he did give up, but then changed his mind. I don't know. This was kind of a weak point for me. I was a bit like, I mean, do or don't. Like, I like the payoff. I like that he did come in and end Beta and help do that. That's awesome. But the bit before it, I was just like, I don't know if this is adding anything.
Well, he's talking to Lydia. And he's saying, you know how this ends. Basically, he's saying they're going to kill us or, you know, we don't have a place here. I'm leaving. Why don't you come with me? That's what he's saying. He says, you know how this ends. You being here when the shitstorm hits ain't changing what definitely is happening. She says, I'm not leaving. He's like, they're never going to trust me or you. Doesn't matter what we do now. You can just slip out and dance your way down through the dead. And then she goes, so could you. And he goes, like you said, I ain't no hero. She goes, you could be. Then he says, well, I guess that's what I'm doing now. So yeah, it's like, wait, are you saying you're running away or that you're going to go try to be a hero? Because as we saw, he went and tried to be a hero. And then at the very end, Lydia's there, and she also was a giant hero because she was about to sacrifice herself, but then didn't need to, but still killed the horde. And anyway, everybody's together and safe, and Lydia is up next to Negan and goes, you still here? And he goes, for now. So I guess, you know, they're hoping that their heroic deeds will absolve them, or, you know, people will forgive them.
Yeah, it's interesting. It intrigued me. I'd kind of after all that forgotten about Negan killing Alpha. I was like, oh, why is everyone? And they're pissed off at Carol because she let him go. Oh right, yeah, I'm back. I'm on the page. I know what's happening. Yeah, it was funny. I think I hadn't expected him to play such a role in killing Beta and Alpha. It was kind of nice to see him, I guess, trying with Daryl, but I just don't know if we can ever really forgive Negan for all the things that he did before. Like, this episode kind of brought it into... I don't know if it's Maggie coming back or what. I'm just like...
It's so... Like, I can't wait to see what happens, though. You know, it's such a great story.
Totally.
Waiting to be told.
In some ways, the best thing Maggie could do is just completely be normal with him, because that would freak him out the most. Do you know what I mean? That way where you're like...
Just kind of be...
Oh, hey, Negan.
Just give him a look.
How you doing?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Not even like... Nothing. Like, oh, hey, what's up?
Oh my God, man. How are you doing? How's the cell? Awesome. Yeah, no, I've been good.
You in a long time.
I've been good. Just living life, you know, doing my thing.
Right.
Because, I mean, in another... Exactly. In another universe, they are married and the parents of Bruce Wayne. So, you know, there's clearly something there.
Right.
But yeah, Negan was an interesting note in this. I feel like it was kind of maybe the only bit of sort of forced drama. I was like, ugh. I mean, he's probably going to turn up. I did wonder if it was him picking up the backpack with Beatrice, but that turned out to be Lydia, which I think was much better. How did you feel about Negan in this episode?
Well, no, I mean, he's there. He's with all the people at the end. Lydia and Negan are together with everyone else. And she goes, you're still here? And he says, for now.
Yeah.
So he has turned up.
No, I meant I thought it was him picking up the backpack when Beatrice died. I thought he was going to join them earlier.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's fine.
I don't know. Well, I think I love this character. I think much like Rick, you know, when he got dark and started doing things that I did not approve of, Negan's that way. And I like the way Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays him, and I like watching the character, and I like the way Andrew Lincoln played Rick, and he was my favorite character, still is. But I don't approve of Negan. And like, I can't forget that just recently he broke out of prison and then helped our people's enemy attack them. Like, if you try to look at Negan as having this arc where he did this horrible thing early on in the history of the show, but now it's much later and he's proven himself to be a good person. No, just recently he broke out of prison, helped our people's enemy attack them, got Earl killed, which maybe you don't care about that, but Earl turned into a zombie and Judith was right there. So Judith's life was in danger because of what Negan did. And so if some guy brutally killed two of my friends with a bat and enslaved my community for however long, then I decided to keep him in a cell rather than kill him. And then years later he got out and joined up with my enemy and helped them attack my people. He'd probably be on the chopping block. I mean, he did kill the leader and helped kill the second in command. So, I mean, I don't know. You got one of our people killed, but now you killed our enemy. It's like, I think I'm at this point, I might just be like, enough, dude. Just go somewhere else and don't ever let me see you again or I'm going to kill you. I think I've said that in a podcast before, but
I think that's it, isn't it? It's like, what can he do? Like, what can he actually do? Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying this as like, poor Negan, he can never redeem himself. Just like, genuinely, what could you do to redeem yourself from that? Like, you just can't.
But I feel like the show's gonna let him, which I feel like is really, but we'll see. I mean, I do love that Diane is like, hey, Negan helped him attack Hilltop to Carol, you know? Like, I'm glad they show. And last episode, Lydia said, you know, most people here wish you died. When Negan was trying to get her to talk, and she goes, all right, I'll talk. Most people here wish you were dead. And so I do like it that they're addressing the problem and they're not just like hand waving it away or something like that. But we'll see what happens.
And can I just say, Diane is a legend, and I really like Diane. Yeah. I just realized that today. I was like, you know, I'm really pleased that Diane is still alive. Her and Scott from Alexandria, I'm like, yeah, good. I'm glad they're still around. The two of them are just nice background characters. I like them.
I was sitting in the green room at Walker Stalker, and that actress, I don't know her name, but she was sitting at the same table, and we started talking, and, you know, I told her I had the podcast and everything, and somehow we were joking around that she should come on for, and I probably shouldn't even say this because maybe I could still make it happen, but we joked that she should come on for an interview and act like a total ass, where I would say, ask her a question. So, you know, what is it like to work on The Walking Dead? And she'd be like, it's cool. And just do like 3 or 4 questions like that, and then let people know we were just kidding around and do the real interview. But she was laughing along with me, so that was really fun. Made me
in these spin-offs, they should show us what Diane's been up to throughout this whole time. I like to think that like she and Scott are having like a sexy affair, and like Diane's just doing all this really cool stuff that we just don't see, but just off screen, she's low-key having an amazing time. Yeah, I love that she's this. She reminds me kind of Brienne of Tarth, like this tall, awesome woman who's just a warrior and has just this really kind of calm nature about her. And I love that. Yeah, I think you're right. I love that she called Carol out on that and was like, yeah, so people at Hilltop died because of you. And yeah, I was just pleased to see her. She and Rachel and Scott are kind of like the 3 not quite background characters, but not quite main characters from the communities that I'm always pleased to see in scenes.
Yes, and one that I would love it if they would bring her up as more of a feature